Russell Brand unhinged. Now, in an interview with Britain's Newsnight, the 38-year-old actor and comedian called for a socialist revolution and massive redistribution of wealth. Well, here's the $15 million funny man in his own words.
I think a socialist egalitarian system based on the massive redistribution of wealth, heavy taxation of corporations and massive responsibility for energy companies and any company that's exploiting the environment, I think they should be I think the very concept of profit should be hugely reduced. David Cameron says profit isn't a dirty word. I say profit is a filthy word, because wherever there is profit there is also deficit, and this system currently doesn't address these ideas. And so why would anyone vote for it? Why would anyone be interested in it?
Then give us your money. I mean, if he's so against profit, I get it. He's an intellectual, or he prides himself on being. Greg, you have a kind of bizarre man crush on him, if you'd like to talk about it.
I lived in London, and I found him highly entertaining, but he's afflicted by what's called studentitis. He has the intellectual capacity of a student, not in a good way. He's not capable of learning, but he is capable of sitting in a coffee shop and pontificating about issues that have destroyed hundreds of millions of lives without thinking about it, because to him, it's only words. He's a 17-year-old who comes home from college for Christmas and thinks he's smarter than his dad. But he is advocating a totalitarian system that has killed hundreds of millions of people. And I want to point out, after 9/11, the Halloween after 9/11, he came dressed at an MTV party as bin Laden. So this guy who's a pacifist finds great humor in atrocity. He's a complete and utter hypocrite, and he used to be so funny, and now he's just an ass.
Well, now he doesn't have Katy Perry, so he's like a nobody. Okay, Eric.
So, Russell Brand begging for a socialist egalitarian system, one where there's a massive redistribution of wealth and corporations are taxed massively. Look no further, my man. You found the right place. President Obama and the wizard behind the curtain, Valerie Jarrett, are doing that right here in America. We'll take you. Come on. You can. Dennis McDonough is the chief of staff.
Okay.
There you go. New chief of staff.
All right. Well,
okay, are you joking?
Well, let's
America?
Massive redistribution of wealth, check.
Oh, yeah?
Taxing corporations massively, check.
Oh, my God.
Profit is a filthy word, check.
How seriously can you take this guy, though? He's a comedian. And he likes a lot of women.
You know what? I take Greg seriously, and I thought that what Greg said, that, you know, this guy's juvenile, that he's just going off. He's just coming out of his mouth, but he's not a great thinker.
Yeah.
But I will say this for him. How can you call America a socialist state? I think American corporations.
I'm saying we're headed in that direction.
President Obama's. Wait a minute.
Big ship
It's the word of the day. For sure.
I'm having fun with this. A lot of women find him very attractive. That's what we were talking about during the commercial break. But I just,
he hasn't bathed in 2 years, Kimberly.
Yeah, I need to like hose him
His
off.
lice has scabies.
Oh.
All right, let's go to this first one. We talked about this as well, which is Occupy Wall Street. His thoughts.
You don't believe in democracy. You want a revolution, don't you?
The planet is being destroyed. We are creating an underclass. We are exploiting poor people all over the world. And the genuine, legitimate problems of the people are not being addressed by our political class. The Occupy movement made a difference, even if only in that it introduced to the popular public lexicon the idea of the 1% versus the 99%. People for the first time in a generation are aware of massive corporate and economic exploitation. These things are not nonsense, and these subjects are not being addressed.
Class.
Oh, you were talking. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm saying he's a student who took his first class. One more point, because I'm babbling. He was at the GQ Man of the Year Awards.
Do you stalk him? Because you seem to know who he is, what he's wearing.
I did this story last night. He linked Hugo Boss to its Nazi ties as a way to get press attention, but his beliefs are no different than any kind of Nazi socialism or totalitarian coercion. He doesn't care about the consequences of putting your thumb down on the man. He believes in enforcing socialism from above.
But he doesn't put his thumb down in the voting booth because Russell doesn't vote. What about that?
Yeah, he doesn't sound like a student to me. He sounds like a college academic. He sounds like every teacher I ever had who was talking about the 1%. They live in the ivory tower. They're removed from reality. What I think is interesting also is he's talking to young people. That's his audience. Young people want to grow up and keep some of their hard-earned cash. They don't want to go to graduate school, go to college, pursue a job, and then hand all of their money over to someone else.
Keep it all.
So I think that a lot of young people are going to look at this and say, what are you talking about? This makes no sense.
But
I want to make money.
Wait a minute.
I want a nice house.
Yeah, but young people want upward mobility. People want the opportunity to succeed. And when you have an increasing class divide in society, and we know it here in America, you have to start asking, well, Russell's kind of daft, but It's not that he's out of touch with the reality.
Okay, but not by taking from one and giving to another.
How do you move up the income ladder, as you so speak? What Russell Brand suggests it's government. So
no.
More and more
he
handouts
didn't say it. I don't know. I don't think I heard that.
He said profit is filthy.
It's redistribution.
Redistribution.
Profit is filthy.
Excess. When you get into greed,
that's
a problem. No. He was talking about the energy, the oil companies that make trillions and pay no taxes.
What about the oil ministry?
That's a
Those oil companies employ people. I hate this vilification of big companies. People work for those companies.
Yes.
That's like vilifying the wealthy. Guess what? Rich people hire people
I like
like
corporations.
Me.
I love corporations. I don't know
We're
talking about greed. Greed.
Okay, but you
these
can't
people who
better
put all their profits in the Cayman Islands and say we're good Americans.
That's you talking. That's not what he said.
That's not what he said. He's talking about profit in general.
Profit, period, is a filthy word.
Well, that's
Okay,
wait a minute. Because that's hypocrisy, because that guy's rich.
Yeah. What he said was, where there's profit, there is deficit. So he's misguided in the belief that the financial pie is finite. So if you make $100, I will lose $100. He has no idea that the whole point behind free market capitalism is that you build wealth, so I can make 100 and you can make 100.
He doesn't understand the principles.
But he's a socialist. But as a socialist, the pie is finite.
Sometimes you just can't get enough.
Yeah, but wait a
Here's
second.
a little bit more of Russell on voting. Does he? Doesn't he?
It's not that I'm not voting out of apathy. I'm not voting out of absolute indifference and weariness and exhaustion from the lies, treachery, deceit of the political class that has been going on for generations.
Take it. He's exhausted. I'm so exhausted and frustrated I can't vote. What is wrong with this guy? I can't take it.
He's a little bit off, wouldn't you say?
Completely. But I mean, how do you? But he's influencing young people, but he doesn't even want to get up in the morning to go vote.
No, but I mean, when he talks about exploiting people, don't you think he has something? There's something there. No.
You know,
So
I just think
vote.
he's a substance.
So vote.
Yeah.
Well, of course.
His opinions and
Back
say
it
I
up.
don't vote. Yeah, that's asinine. That's pure stupidity.
And he should, you know what? I think he should give all of his money away. If he feels that strongly, give it all away to charity, you know, practice what you
Come
preach.
to the U.S. and pay taxes. We'll take his money. Right, Greg?
Yeah, you know what? Like I say, I find him entertaining.
I know you love
but you have to talk. You always have to look at the hypocrisy of the peaceful, progressive pacifists, because at the end of their belief is always force. Because you never realize this utopian world, so you have to force people into it. So what he's advocating is the same thing that all academics in Mao's regime or Stalin's regime that caused the deaths of hundreds of millions of people. He is advocating that.
Because he only went to the first day of class.
Yeah, but he doesn't
like
even,
you said.
No, he just bought Howard Zinn or Noam Chomsky.
Yeah,
Last thought, the highest income, the widest margin between the upper class and the lower class, socialist governments.
You don't think we can rein in the excesses?
Income inequality is at its widest point in socialism and communism.
I say, well, I don't want us to go there, and I think we can rein in some of the excesses that, however nutty he is, that he's touching. I think there's some.
And who defines what's excess? The government?
Well, I don't want people who are super rich, you know, living on top of the mountain while people are down below in America.
Then let's create opportunity for everyone
There we
instead of
go.
taking from one and giving to another.
Let's
That's
go
what
for
I say.
opportunity.
I'm thinking comedians might be getting paid too much. All right, coming up.